The Armored Core series began back in 1999 with the original series title Armored Core for the PlayStation 1. The game saw a global release that year and was met with a warm reception from the viewers everywhere, being called sophisticated, very freeing for players, excellently designed both atmospherically and in a gameplay sense, and my favorite, a surefire recipe for intense death matches for the fate of the universe. That quote is one that sets the stage for the future of Armored Core, as it not only put FromSoftware, a young Japanese game development company, on the map, but also correctly guesses the future of the series with its dedicated competitive fan base. The series would headline FromSoft's catalog with a new installment every year from 1999 to 2008. Though it was the company's poster baby, it still remained a mostly niche series in the gaming realm, even going into the most recent title, Armored Core Verdict Day, released in 2013. I remember I used to go to GameStop and see every Armored Core on the shelves for like $5 used, and I bought all of them because it was a cool looking robot game, of course. And though I never really got good like a lot of the fans that I now follow and watch all the time, I fell in love with the series story modes and got sucked into the world of Armored Core thanks to how low-key the series is. Now that it's having a grand resurgence with Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon an entire decade later, I wanted to dig deeper. What are the most niche points of this already niche series, beyond the surface level stuff we all already know? That's why I wanted to take a trip down this Armored Core iceberg. The Armored Core Grip. The Armored Core Grip is a long-running belief that high-level Armored Core players found it more optimal to turn their controllers around backwards to play the older Armored Core games. This in turn gave them more immediate access to the AC controls. After blowing up from memes, it's become one of the earliest exposures of Armored Core to many newcomers. More on this later that you may already know if you already watched my previous Armored Core video. Optimus Prime is an Armored Core. One of the fathers of the Armored Core series is Shoji Kawamori. Kawamori is credited as a mechanic designer in Armored Cores 1 through Nexus, as well as the designer behind the White Glint. Not only is he the mind behind many of the Armored Core designs that we celebrate to this day, but he's also the designer behind Optimus Prime, as well as the transforming mecha concept used in series like Macross and Transformers in general. No, that doesn't mean Optimus is actually an Armored Core unless you decide to make him in the games, in which case it's debatable, but it does mean he has a close relation to the series. The price spike of 2023. If you're new to Armored Core, you may not be aware that the series has never been one to break the bank, should you want to collect it. Like I said earlier, I got my copies of the games for like $5 years ago, and you could for a long time, but that was until 6 got announced and the prices spiked. Now with no re-releases in sight for any of the older games, it can be assumed that the rest of these games will sit at ball-busting prices until we get actual Armored Cores in real life. Armored Core 3 and 5 are remakes. While Armored Core 3 and 5 are starting points for the series to reboot itself, many consider them both remakes and retellings of the original Armored Core story. This is backed up by them sharing main story beats with their originator, featuring a rogue AI brought on by humanity to help escape corporations destroying civilization. This AI is defeated by you, the single mercenary with the power to take it down. 5 subverts this story, turning it into a cycle of humanity destroying and rebuilding itself, which is the big basis for the Armored Core series. Armored Core 4 is real. Can we get much higher? This one isn't serious like that, or else I'd probably be out flying an AC instead of making this video. Unlike the rest of the Armored Core installments, Armored Core 4 takes place in real life, complete with names of countries and regions that we all know. Like I said, it doesn't mean we can just go outside and sign up to get our own Armored Core just yet, but it's a cool tidbit from the series. Metal Wolf Chaos. Metal Wolf Chaos is another game from FromSoftware that actually acts as a parody to the Armored Core series. The title came from a partnership between FromSoft and Microsoft to combat Xbox's low popularity in Japan. It ended up being an over-the-top parody on American culture mixed with the mix that FromSoft was known for at the time. You play the role of a patriotic American president with the task of taking down a rebellion using his mech alone. Ironically, the game worked for Microsoft but ended up backfiring on FromSoftware, as Metal Wolf Chaos ended up with a louder cult following in America than Armored Core itself. Multiple timelines. The Armored Core series takes place over multiple timelines. This is one of the first things that newcomers find out when they ask if they should play every game. The series reboots at 3 points: the Armored Core 3 series, Armored Core 4 series, and now Armored Core 6. While each story is different, they share themes of corrupt corporations, evil AIs, humanity's self-destruction, and all should be played to truly appreciate the series. The network split that killed AC. One issue that Armored Core players are all too familiar with is dead matchmaking. Going into the games hoping to find an online match on release was hard enough, but now you'll have to be super lucky, unless you join the Discord linked in the description, to find someone to battle. In Armored Core 5's case, US and EU servers were split, and due to the series never doing as well in the West as it did in Japan, it led to a dead online experience. The truth of the Armored Core grip. If you see my video on the AC grip, you'll know that it isn't a real thing. The Armored Core grip is a huge gaming myth brought on by a Japanese originating joke on the complexity of Armored Core 1's controls. While some people can use it, it isn't preferred, let alone the high level way to play. FromSoft's main game. Blasphemous, I know. But years ago, before they started pumping out Souls games, Armored Core is what kept the lights on at FromSoft headquarters. Not only did it do that, but it taught them the strategy that led to the success of Souls. Catering to a niche audience works. Without AC, FromSoft wouldn't have the money nor knowledge to go against the industry grain and create the new breadwinner. The in-game Smurf. Warehound is an in-game enemy in Armored Core 2's arena. He is programmed to be a Smurf in the game, which in gaming is a term for a high-level player that sits at low ranks strictly to gatekeep newcomers. His AI was programmed to be stronger than those before and even some after him. His bio supports this fact and is as follows. He has the skills to go higher, but he likes breaking in newcomers with potential, so he stays where he is. His AC is designed to inflict pain and sorrow on the weak. So basically an average Saturday afternoon jumping on any game online. The plot cycle. As said earlier, Armored Core games are different but share the same cycle of humanity messing up, AI made by humanity messes up even more, humanity is destroyed, humanity rebuild, humanity repeat. Not much else to say here. Dark Souls story. One thing many may not know is that the Dark Souls story pulls a lot from its Armored big brother. Both have you placed in a dark world where you have to pick between an uncertain future leading you to face a god amongst men, or falling into a crumbling status quo. And each ends and begins with the cycle repeating once more. Aaliyah. Armored Core 4 featured an AC named 03 Aaliyah. This mech was soon renamed to Aaliyah, same name, different spelling, due to the death of the singer Aaliyah in a plane crash. More on this naming soon, but just know the naming most likely wasn't just a coincidence. The number 9. The number 9 holds a lot of importance in the world of Armored Core. The arguably most iconic character in the series is the villain Nineball. The 9th game in the series is titled Ninebreaker. The other iconic mech of the series, White Glint, is ranked 9th in for Answer. Armored Core 5 ends with Mission 9 and the fight against a Nineball lookalike, and Verdict Day ends with a fight against a variation of the 9th ranking White Glint. If anyone has any more of these 9 examples or has any reasoning for this, I'd love to see it in the comments because I seriously just have no clue why they're obsessed with the number 9 in this series. Ninebreaker and Formula Font, non-canon. While every Armored Core is seen as canon within different timelines, many don't see Ninebreaker and Formula Font as shared in that case. This is due to the 2 official timelines featured in Armored Core 10 Works Complete File Book completely omitting both titles in its timeline breakdown, leaving the 2 to be perceived as non-canon spin-offs. Which doesn't really make sense, like, let's just say that there are different universes, but whatever. What is the answer? Many wonder just what the answer in Armored Core 4 Answer refers to. One belief is that it's perceived to be the answer to the crisis, pain, and misery plaguing the world brought on by the corporations. The answer to the prayers of those that need saved. The answer is hope, and that hope ends up being you, the player. You must choose the answer for the world, and at the same time answer for it. The AC4 phrase, God is force, is part of this answer. The next line, of course, are what help destroy the world, becoming as gods. And gods control the world and the answer. I'm gonna be honest, that's some real Shin Megami Tensei type stuff right there. Enhanced human cores. Armored Core Nexus was originally set to include 2 special enhanced human cores, which gave players force lock-on and bullet time abilities. However, they were scrapped during development. Armored Core 4's pre-order bonus. Armored Core games aren't unfamiliar with the DLC of the PS3 and 360 era, and they had their fair share of it as well. One rumored DLC pack for Armored Core 4 was supposed to add 2 extra necks to battle in the simulation, one being Nineball. However, with no proof, this is stated an internet rumor. However, it's somewhat believable thanks to 9-ball status. Honestly, the more 9-ball and AC, the better. Dark Souls in Armored Core. There's a game called Dark Soul in Armored Core 1. That's it. That's the Iceberg piece. You are the villain. Within each Armored Core series is connected lore. One piece of this comes from Master of Arena in Armored Core 2, in which your pilot from Master of Arena becomes the main antagonist of Armored Core 2, Leos Klein. The Middle East. As said earlier, Armored Core 4 takes place in the real world, with places like Las Vegas, named Old Peace City, being major mentioned areas. However, in classic fashion, the US version changes its location to some unnamed place in the Middle East. Fitting for that era of the US, right? EX Arena designs. In Master of Arena, many of the in-game arenas were actually designed by fans of the series. Winners of different Armored Core Project Phantasma tournaments got to create their own stages to be featured in the game. This is a common thing in Japan, as seen with different manga like Kinnikuman featuring fan designs from competitions. Armored Core and Demon Souls. There are actually quite a few hidden references to Armored Core and Demon Souls, two of them being Old King and Ostarva. Each series also includes references to FromSoft's even older series, Kingsfield, and their Moonlight Blades. The Simulation AC-1 Controller. There is allegedly a proposed idea for a simulation rig type controller for the original Armored Core 1, similar to that of Steel Battalion. While I've seen talk about this one, I actually can't find any information or interviews on it, so we're just gonna have to take it with a grain of salt and hope that it comes true for Armored Core 6. Blue 9-ball. Blue 9-ball is the case of a blue version of the villain 9-ball appearing on the cover of Armored Core Formula Front Extreme Battle. While players would attempt to find ways to unlock and battle him, he actually isn't seen anywhere in the game, making this a Pika Blue and Mew 3 type incident. I suggest we call this 9-ball clone Blue Balls, by the way. Wildcat is the Phantasma player. Wildcat is a former Raven that shows up in the original Armored Core and Armored Core Nexus. He was driven mad due to the exposure of the Human Plus experiments and now attacks anyone he sees. Due to the official timeline not detailing the exact years of the original Armored Core or Master of Arena, but saying that Chrome and Murakumo's collapses happened at the end of the war, some believe Master of Arena and Phantasma happened earlier than Armored Core 1. Each happens before the climax of the first and supports the claim that many call a crack theory of Wildcat being the player character featured in Project Phantasma. I actually kind of like this theory because I just love how Armored Core games bring you face to face with someone you played as in an earlier game and saw as a hero back then. It's like fighting your older self. Same timeline theory. While it's canon that the Armored Core series takes place over multiple timelines, some look at FromSoft's track record of connecting the dots and theorize that each game actually shares a timeline. A popular basis for this theory starts with AC-4's ending, leads to humanity eventually recovering, tech growing, and the next evolving from the normal, and after it all, AC-4 starts all over again with the cycle repeating once more. Another Century Episode R. This game is another title developed by FromSoft that places you in a third-person shooting position in a mecha. Players pilot a mech from series like Gundam, Macross, Fullmetal Panic, and even Genesis of Aquarion. The reason that it's in this Iceberg is because 9-ball appears as a playable mech and a boss, once again proving his status as the most iconic Armored Core character. I don't care what that poll I posted says. Real Armored Core characters. While no Armored Core characters are actually based on reality, many characters in Armored Core 2's English version are named after the translator's friends. Armored Core 1 features even more alternate timelines. Another little fan theory is that Armored Core 1 itself features multiple timelines beyond those of the reboots. One is seen in the cutscene where you cause the collapse of the Murakumo, and one in the cutscene when you cause the collapse of the Chrome. R&B. Apparently there were some hard R&B fans at Sega during the localization of their published version of AC-4. Much like in the case of Aaliyah, there was a reference to another famous R&B singer in the generator part named 06 Rihanna, seen in pre-release screenshot. These references were removed in Ubisoft's published version of Armored Core for answer. God is Force. Some believe that the series phrase, God is Force, is a mistranslation on Force is God, which some take as might makes right, a common theme of the Armored Core series. The AI experiment. One very weird crack theory on Armored Core is that the cycle itself is all an AI experiment. It's all an AI trying to calculate a better version and therefore a future for humanity. It's said that this directive was left by the last of humankind in order to make a better future reality. Honestly, this sounds like something that someone at FromSoft actually would like to bring to fruition. A ban on Armored Core 2. No, Armored Core 2 wasn't ever actually banned, but an article by The Onion that parodied the media's reaction to mass shootings jokingly called for it. The article is titled "Video Game Violence Blamed in Giant Robot Shooting Spree," stating, "Parents Against Robot-on-Robot Violence is calling for a ban on the giant robot-themed PlayStation 2 video game Armored Core 2, which the group claims inspired a 17-year-old giant robot's February 22nd slaying of 13 giant robots and himself." This is the bottom of the iceberg, folks. Lost media pilots. While not as exciting as other lost media finds, Armored Core has its own share of lost pieces being found during the internet age. One of these comes from one of the least popular AC entries, Ninebreaker, and consists of a few lost pilot bios not included in the games. A Dreamcast exclusive Armored Core. Armored Core 2 was apparently originally to be a Dreamcast exclusive, or at least it was under heavy consideration. This really makes me wonder if it would have raised the series' cult appeal level and changed history versus it being among the many games on the PlayStation 2. Leos Klein is Nineball. One Reddit theory details Leos Klein actually being Nineball or somehow being infected with its consciousness in some way. The cyber enhancements, manner of speaking, and ultimate goal to become a sort of Nineball 2.0 are cited to be the reasonings behind the theory, but it's just one I can't get behind. Armored Core 3's Lost Screensavers. Another case of lost media in Armored Core has to do with Armored Core 3 and its lost screensavers. These screensavers were lost for over 20 years but found recently by Reddit user EJRaven2, who found over 500 gigabytes of Armored Core videos, wallpapers, and a lot more. I'll include a link to that thread in the description. The Metal Wolf Theory. The Metal Wolf Theory is one that says that the series somehow takes place in the Armored Core world due to the enemy attack helicopter models in Armored Core 5 being taken from Metal Wolf Chaos, complete with United States Air Force markings and all. While this doesn't really make too much sense, I honestly wouldn't mind more throwbacks from AC to the goofy world of Metal Wolf Chaos. Blades are bad. A giant mech using blades is one of the coolest things ever, and it's no different in Armored Core. But did you know 4 Answer players frown on blade users? I recently learned from Shift, who you should probably subscribe to if you want more Armored Core content, that using a blade in Armored Core 4 actually breaks the game, causing teleporting glitches and desync issues. It's literally too broken for the game and leads to many goofy scenarios, as seen in this clip shown right now from Shift's channel. The other reason bladers are hated so much is because they're usually just straight up bad. The Armored Core RTS. There was actually a planned Armored Core real-time strategy board game. The RTS went up on Kickstarter and it actually met its goal of more than 75,000. It blew up and then dropped the Armored Core title with just 15 days left in its campaign, changing its name to Mech Command RTS instead. The change was brought on by stretch goals from the crowdfunding campaign needing constant approval from FromSoft due to them owning the IP. This potential hurdle could delay board game devs from their promised scheduling, which already was in potential jeopardy due to language barriers. If you made it this far into the iceberg, first of all, you're crazy. Second of all, thank you so much. I usually want to put more editing into these type of videos, but something like this is just so much more different and vast that I couldn't justify going the full mile for. So I hope you don't think it's indicative of my usual content quality. But it was super fun. Anyway, feel free to like, subscribe, and just stick around for more Armored Core and gaming content in general. Have a great afternoon, evening, or night.